Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy, Michael Cosby. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Cosby, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida, too. Mike Cosby, 561-441-2730. A ride.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, stunning. Boy, were there major mistakes made tied to security with Brown University. And the more you hear about it, you go, are you kidding me? That these people were actually even concerned whatsoever about security? It just seems like they were completely out of touch, completely unaware, and completely out to lunch. Because now we're hearing that there's a custodian that has come forward and that he apparently came forward a number of times, that he may have seen this guy, the shooter, tied to Brown University on Brown University campus, roaming around that particular building, lurking into hallways, looking and seeing what people were doing in the classroom, including that classroom, also hanging around the bathroom, acting very suspicious. And the custodian says he saw that individual there maybe about a dozen times or more, and even reported it to security, saying, you got to be on the lookout for this guy. This guy is acting very weird. He's acting very strange. And for that reason, we definitely have to be on the lookout, and that this is a very suspicious individual. So how is it possible that this guy was able to case all of these different classrooms, case Brown University? No wonder he was able to figure out maybe the one that didn't have a lot of cameras in it, the building that didn't have a lot of cameras in it. He liked maybe what he saw from his casing. And how crazy is it that nobody stopped the guy? What should happen to Brown University? I think the book should be thrown at them. First of all, the president of the university should be hauled before Congress and elsewhere to testify about what went so horribly wrong. Also, you can bet there's going to be a lot of lawsuits from family members. Can you imagine you lose a loved one and then suddenly, you don't have any sense of justice? And you even have the president of the university who seems completely clueless and in complete denial. Every time they've asked that individual at the presidency, hey, would you have done something different? Or would you? Oh, no, everything was great. No problems. No, more cameras wouldn't have changed a thing. Are you kidding me? More cameras, more security guards, any sort of visible security presence, it seems like, might have changed a lot of things. It might have prevented this shooting from happening. Boy, did they drop the ball. And now when you hear the story of this custodian who seemed very alert, he's been a part of the Brown University campus system for a long time, loves the kids, he's very devoted. And this particular custodian, his name is Derek Lisi, he came forward just recently and said that I told the different security folks that he saw there, and they weren't really security folks. They were like people checking tags every now and then or basic. He said when he went to them, they said, that's not what we do. He said, I saw a suspicious individual. This guy keeps coming back. He's kind of lurking into the classrooms. It's really creepy. I'm concerned. And they said, we don't really do that. That's not really our job. Wow. If this is true, this is really bad news for Brown University. Obviously, what happened is the worst. And now when you look and see what's happening, there's a lot of problems here. Boy, oh boy. And then you've got that homeless guy who was living underneath the building, and he's the one who pointed out. So you got a custodian and a homeless guy who are the two key people. And the custodian has also been mentioned, by the way, by law enforcement. So it seems like he is a very credible guy. And it seems like someone who gave information that was helpful to authorities. He said as soon as he saw that picture come out, he was like, wow, I recognize that guy, because he had like confronted him a number of times. And he thought it was just this creepy guy who was hanging around campus. So he recognized the guy from that grainy, terrible video that the university put out, and obviously the Ring cameras also as well. But this really raises the red flag and raises the specter. What has this university been doing or not been doing? This is really troubling, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Well, here's a little bit of this interview. This is with WPRI in Providence, Rhode Island, the television there. And here is custodian Derek Lisi talking a bit. Here's a couple comments of what he made and what he said that happened that day and also in the previous days. Take a listen.
And I had said to the ESS staff member, I said, hey, this guy looks suspicious. I said, he just went in the bathroom. I said, you should go check him out. He's like, I'm not here for that. And I said, okay, nothing happened, but I know that walk. I know that limp. But I did tell him he was wearing thick glasses, clear, thick glasses. I just feel for the families more than anything, because that shit's just awful. But, you know, the students and I'm always watching out for them, always, you know.
Amazing. So he goes and says, there's a problem with this guy who's casing classrooms. Believe me, any college classroom, you see an older guy who doesn't look like the average student, and he's casing classrooms and keeps showing up there. He says he showed up there about a dozen times. I mean, if that shouldn't creep you out, I don't know what does. And then to find out, no cameras, no reference, nobody seemed to care. They have a major security problem at Brown University. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Meantime, the Democratic Party is in complete disarray. There's a new poll that came out from Quinnipiac that has the approval rating of Democrats at 18%. Can you imagine? 18% of the people think that the Democrats have done a good job with Congress. I think crabs and shingles are more popular than that. So, I mean, that's incredible. 18%. That is one of the lousiest ever. And guess what? Zoran Mamdani is getting ready because he is going to start on January 1st, less than 10 days away. And buckle up, New York, because it definitely will be bumpy. And he's already had some problems with a number of his appointees, some of which have essentially said that America deserved 9/11. Little problem there, right? Especially because he's going to be mayor on the 25th anniversary of 9/11. It's just shocking that we're about to have a mayor who has been anti-Semitic, anti-police, anti-Italian, you name it. And then, of course, a lot of brouhaha. Everyone is still talking about the fact that he had this director of appointments who decides basically appointing all these other people. Can you imagine this? Catherine Almonte da Costa. Well, it turned out that a lot of her tweets that she said in 2011 and 2012 resurfaced. One of them says, Far Rockaway train is the Jew train. She says that Jews are money-hungry Jews. And she also called for defunding the police, calling them piggies. I mean, this person was about to appoint individuals in the new mayor's administration. That's an absolutely incredible fact. And luckily, those things were uncovered by the Anti-Defamation League. Thank goodness. Because can you imagine if this one was the one doing all the vetting? Zoran would probably say, great job, sweetie. But the rest of us would go, are you kidding me? And here is Zoran Mamdani, because at first he refused to condemn the anti-Semitic rhetoric coming from her and others, maybe because he said a lot of it himself, if not even worse. But here he is, not too long ago, kind of hedging and hemming when asked by the press. Take a listen.
We all saw that Kat Acosta stepped down, and I think you might be aware the ADL just released a report on the more than 400 people you appointed to transition committees. Among that report, they identified Ms. Ansari, who posted a cartoon depicting Israel as a dog. There was another person on the Committee on Worker Justice, Kazi Fuzia, who said resistance is justified hours after October 7th. Someone else saying Zionism is racism from the Committee on Legal Affairs. Someone from the Committee on Worker Justice who shared a post that said Zionists are worse than the Inquisition and the Nazis. Will the policy of your administration be to reject candidates who are actually hired to your administration when they express anti-Semitic positions or have anti-Semitic statements in the past? Are you going to automatically reject them from your administration? And then were any of these statements or these people that I identified or that were identified in the report, were these already flagged or identified by your transition team?
So I have always spoken out against anti-Semitism and hatred in any form, and have made it clear that the commitment I have made to protect New Yorkers, to protect Jewish New Yorkers, is one that I will uphold as the next mayor of this city. And we must distinguish between anti-Semitism and criticism of the Israeli government. The ADL's report oftentimes ignores this distinction, and in doing so it draws attention away from the very real crisis of anti-Semitism we see not only just in our city but in the country at large. And this is a team we are speaking of more than 400 New Yorkers that we have assembled to advise on the transition. These are committees, 17 of which that range from worker justice to the importance of the arts. And we will continue to build an administration of appointees that reflect not only our commitments but also the fulfillment of our affordability agenda.
But did any of those examples I read or in the report, if your team looked at it, did any of those go too far to where you said, okay, this is kind of anti-Semitic?
I think there's no tolerance for anti-Semitism, and also when we're thinking about critiques of Zionism and different forms of political expression, as much of what this report focuses on, there's a wide variety of political opinion, even within our own 400-plus transition committee, on the Israeli government and its conduct.
That's absolutely incredible. There is no place. At first, listen to him dodging, and then he said there's no place for anti-Semitism. Well, look at the comments he made. He made some really horrific ones. Why is he getting a pass? Why did voters give him a pass and pick him for the primary and then to win the general election? And now I hear a number of New Yorkers going, oh boy, this guy is bad. Yes, we were telling you. He's bad. That's why he needed to be defeated in the race. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania. And Joaquin, first off, just real quick, your thoughts about Mamdani. First he hems and haws, and then at the end he said, there's no place for anti-Semitism. Maybe we need to play back his past comments.
Right. Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Whenever they talk about these hate crimes laws that they want to pass, they're really more geared at Islamophobia than they are by anti-Semitism. They're just using anti-Semitism as a disguise, for what their agenda is. And I unfortunately, I firmly believe that, and I've been seeing more and more people saying the same thing, that there is a problem, with Islam in particular, and he's so dangerous. He somehow has to be stopped. But unfortunately, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what exactly he does. And also too, that's another thing too. I was listening to Katz and Kaz today, and of course, you had Governor Hochul on.
Yep.
And the problem is that a lot of these Democrats, you just cannot trust them, because if you look at her record as to the things that she has actually done, even in as far as the green things, you also had the lady from about the windmills from the fisheries, and Hochul was she was big behind that. She eliminated the fire, the fire the wood burning pizza ovens, going after gas stoves and things, and one of the biggest things.
And by the way, I thought Democrats were like super environmentalists. I mean, these windmills, like you just said, there's a lot of hypocrisy because those windmills are obviously not good for the environment. They're not good for the whales, and they're also not good for national security. So I'm very glad that President Trump put a pause on the big ones, the big major projects that are happening around the country, because they said these are major national security risks. But you would have thought the Democrats would be saying, oh, no, this is not good for marine life. It's not good because, they drig, they put those turbines. They're heavy. They're concrete. They drill them into the seabed. All these whales have washed up dead on a number of shores near these wind turbines. I mean, there's a deep, deep concern for all of those reasons. Joaquin, do me a favor. We're going to go to a quick break. Stick with us because I know you wanted to talk about something else. We're going to go to a break, and I'm going to get you after the commercial break. Everybody, you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy, Michael Cosby. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Cosby, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida, too. Mike Cosby, 561-441-2730. All right.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And we're obviously rocking out tonight here on the Rita Cosby Show. A little chain. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania on line 2. Go ahead, Joaquin. Sorry, we had to go to a break there.
That's okay, Rita. As a matter of fact, my last thought on the windmill thing, somebody had pointed out that the power costs that would have been, that they would have had to charge for these windmills would have been 5 times per unit of what it is using, the old ways, in other words.
And by the way, energy costs are already so high. Can you imagine 5 times more? They're not sure how, A, productive it is, and B, they're hurting marine life, and it's a national security issue. So I would say it's called get rid of it. And I mean, I'm glad that the administration at least is putting it on pause. And but there are a lot of people who are fighting it both ways. But my bet is on those who are saying, let's get rid of them because they're eyesores. They're not good financially, and they are just disastrous for national security and for our whales. But go ahead, Joaquin, real quick.
Okay, yeah. All right. So the one thing I want to say is this. Actually, this is I mean this as respectfully as possible. Okay, it's an observation, maybe a little bit of critique. I mean, most everybody, who believes in Magna Constitution of the United States of America owes a great debt, of gratitude to John Catsimatidis for what he's doing with the radio station.
Yep, but go ahead.
The only thing I think that sometimes is that the relationships that you guys have with some of the people, like you know Pam Bondi, and John knows everybody, including Kathy Hulke.
Yeah, I think listen, we still tell the truth, whatever we feel.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Retirement isn't just about closing out your career. It's mornings that begin with a sunrise instead of an alarm and the freedom to live the life you've always dreamed of. With a New York Life financial professional, you'll have the guidance to make it real, so your years of hard work become the life you've always imagined. Your life. New York Life. More powerful together. Start today at nyl.com.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kann du Norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Gwinnett County, Georgia, where a 5-year-old boy with autism is safe after police officers found him in a storm drain. A search that officers say ended in the best possible outcome. Body cam footage, which just was released, shows the officers calling out for the child after learning that he had wandered away from a playground late that afternoon. One officer said, does he have a name that he responds to, Buddy or Buddy 2? How do we figure out how to get to him? Well, apparently this officer, who was among the first to reach the wooded area behind the playground, said the call struck him personally. Calls like this, he said, hit closer to home. He said, I have a 5-year-old son who is on the autism scale. So he followed a walking trail with several officers. We knew what direction he was heading towards, but we did not where we would end up. And he said his instincts led him to a large tree, and then I saw an open pipe. Like my kids thinks it's part of a playground, and between two things that he might go in there. Moments later, an officer called out, and he found him. The boy had crawled several hundred feet into a drain near a retention pond. And the officer said he crawled inside the pipe to reach him. When I found him, all I could do was hug him and say, I've got you, not to worry. The officer said the best moment of all came for us after the rescue. When you are there and you're able to provide that moment of contact back with the parents, it is the best thing in the world, seeing that beautiful child reunited with the parents. And bravo, and especially in this case, to have such a great, happy ending to that story. And everybody, we are talking about Zoran Mamdani, Brown University, Trump, so much more. Zoran Mamdani saying, anti-Semitism should never be tolerated. Well, maybe he needs to really condemn himself. Listen to what he said. This was 3 months before the October 7th massacre. The man who's going to be mayor of New York. Listen to this.
So who is ready to end the exception? I want to hear you say, not on our dime! Not on our dime! Not on our dime!
Not on our dime. We're not spending a dime to help Israel. That was the purpose of that protest, that he was leading the charge. And now he's saying, it's not a good idea that she was making those comments, you think? And we're talking about his director of appointments who had to resign because she had become such a distraction with her horrible, vile anti-Semitic comments. My question is, where were they? Where was the Anti-Defamation League all of this time when he was speaking out? He was making all these statements over the years, and we knew about a lot of them prior to as well. So, boy, there's a lot of explaining to do. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Michelle in Orange County in New York. Michelle, I know we've been talking about the Brown University case and the fact that this custodian just comes out and says that he complained multiple times about this particular guy, saying he was casing the classrooms, he was casing the building, he saw him in the bathroom, and that this custodian said, I told at least 3 different times different security officials about this guy, and nothing was done. This is a disgrace. Michelle, your thoughts?
Yes. Well, my thoughts are is that this is a huge cover-up, unfortunately. First of all, regarding the custodian, he has the interest in getting the $50,000 reward. But more importantly, there's lots of evidence that points to Mustafa Karbash, who is a Palestinian student from Lebanon, who works for the Middle Eastern Studies Department. He not only fits the description of the person in the videos that were shared from people's door cams, not from the university. He is one of the people who protested against having the videos available, all of the cameras on campus. He and his organization, the pro-Palestinian organization, they fought the president to have the cameras turned off on the university over the summer. In addition to that, the weapons were directly connected to him. He was online commenting about the type of gun and bullets that were utilized.
Wait, Michelle, this is interesting. Hang on. First off, are you trying to say that they got the wrong guy? Is that where you're going?
100%. This is a complete cover-up. 100%.
But wait a minute. That guy, if they look at the video in his gait, and also I was just watching an interview before this with the guy's last name is Watson, and he was a former classmate of this guy. And he said, I knew it was him as soon as I could see the hand gesture with the hands behind his back. That's what he used to always do when we were in class together if he was thinking. And he resented Brown University. The authorities say the ballistics match, the weapons match. So where are you getting this information? Not that I'm ruling it out. I'm just curious.
Sure. All of it is online through different sources that I've read, a variety of different people who are connected to the university, former, current students, just people who've done a lot of the research. They've looked online and they see that Mustafa made the comment about the weapons online, and there's only about 300 people in the United States with his first name, last initial, who have any access to that online site. In addition to that, if you look at the video, he meets the description and looks exactly like the body type and shape and size of the person. He had a direct connection to Ella Cook. He specifically walked past other students and aimed at her and targeted her specifically. She was a conservative Republican at the university, and he was part of the Palestinian group, but also queer. He was a gay man who she was his arch nemesis, really, on campus, and she fought for the rights of Christians and Jews on campus.
But then Michelle explained the MIT professor who this guy went to school with, the guy who's now reportedly killed himself. I say reportedly because I'm not sure either, but if he indeed did kill himself, reportedly, how do you make a connection there with somebody else? Because this guy definitely had a connection.
Yes, so I believe that Iran and Qatar are funding. First of all, Qatar has provided massive amount, millions and millions of dollars to Brown University, and as part of that, they also are connected to Iran and have put a hit out for the professor at MIT. They're both part of the engineering department, I read, and in addition to that, the professor at MIT, he was a genius who was helping the United States government with their attacks on Iran. So there's a connection there. Qatar and Iran work together. Unfortunately, they fund millions and millions of dollars, and also Brown University was at they're right now on probation for all the anti-Semitism on campus, and so they had to cover this up. They also scrubbed all of their websites of Mustafa Karbash. They took off any evidence of him showing that he was wearing keffiyeh, that he was a student on campus, that he had a connection to any of these things. They erased him off their website. If you looked at from the days where they were quote unquote looking for the person.
And by the way, I did hear that. So you believe? So why do you believe that? Like what Brown's involved in this big cover up, and why would they want to scrub him from the website?
They would want to scrub him, first of all, because they would lose their funding because of all of the problems with him and allowing the anti-Semitism to continue. And that was part of Mustafa's his work that he did at the university. They are being funded heavily by Qatar, and unfortunately, I'm so sad because I'm a huge supporter of Donald Trump. I am so thankful for everything that he's been doing to help improve the universities, make it more safe for students in general, any Christians, conservative students, any Jewish students, and I'm so worried that now, unfortunately, Kash Patel came to the university and solved this in a few hours and made these atypical connections where Ella Cook was specifically targeted. She was targeted by Mustafa Karbash, who knew her. There was all these connections from the weapon to his video.
So wait, Michelle, so how did this other guy end up dead in a storage locker? How did that all happen? All the guns may. By the way, I'm always open for ideas. But there may be something odd because he apparently was dead there for 2 days. They say self-inflicted, but who knows? They also say Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, and I don't buy that one. But how do you set everything up with the bullets and all that? That's a big conspiracy.
Yeah, so he specifically had connection to the weapons, Mustafa. Regarding this person they found, I mean, they took 6 days, and they were coming up with a plan. And this man may have been dead for years. We don't have any family that testified otherwise that, where's any connection to anyone from this guy they found dead. There's really no information about him other than many, many years ago. There's no connection to Ella Cook. She was specifically targeted. Multiple students said that he went past other students and specifically shot her. So there's no connection at all with him. It's just a made-up connection because they were able to find something, and who knows who put him there. But there's no evidence.
So what about
to
the
really
custodian, Michelle? What about the custodian who says he saw this guy lurking in all the classrooms?
It's a great story, but realistically, I don't think there's any connection, and he's getting paid off by the university as well as earning the $50,000 reward. There's no connection. It really makes no sense. They've made up these details. It's unfortunate. I wish it weren't true. It's just that I've read for days and days and days while they were saying they can't find anyone, and they said that Mustafa Karbash is not a person of interest, and they would not report on why they wouldn't interview him, why they were erasing his profile, why they, were covering up all the connections to him. They would not. And then they came up all of a sudden with there's a new picture, and this is the guy. So they had to find someone to fit the narrative. But unfortunately, you can look at many different online connections, and I'm just really disappointed that this is a huge cover-up, both to save the Brown funding, but more importantly, to cover up that this person who should be in jail.
Well, and I agree. If somebody else is responsible, we need to hear about it. I'm always open to ideas, and believe me, this case is terrible. I mean, it's a disaster. It's a mess. There are so many different issues, so many problems, so many mistakes. And I wouldn't put anything past anybody in this case because they seem like the Keystone Cops. But maybe there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. Keep us posted, Michelle. Very interesting. Definitely keep us posted, all right? See what you hear because sometimes crazy theories turn out to be true. Let's go to Kenny in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Kenny, your thoughts about this? Wow.
Yeah, this is, something that you gotta look into, and hopefully when the parents sue the schools, people get called. Right now, Rita, we are become foreigners in our own country run by third worlders. If you look around the country, Omar, they keep saying she's going to be deported. They're not deporting her. Eventually, she will be one of the most powerful people in the country when the hard left totally takes over, and she'll be in charge with other left-wingers over the biggest arsenal of atomic weapons on the world, the American arsenal of atomic weapons. Nobody seems to be bothered by this. It's weird as anything. Yes, up in Providence, Rhode Island, it did look like the Keystone Cops, the way they were handling it. I would take a deep look into the first guy they brought in because he had nothing to do with it. But since he was a white guy, fit the narrative for the hard left and the communists. Same thing like the 96 bombings in the Olympics in Atlanta. They immediately brought some guy in, he was a fat, chubby guy.
Yeah, poor Richard Jewell. Richard Jewell.
Yeah.
By the way, I covered that whole case. I know it well.
And they turned him into a millionaire. It wasn't him. So they're going to try to get past this like everything else that's taken place. Listen, they're now killing beautiful, young, smart, strong Americans, murdering them. Laken Riley wanted to be a nurse practitioner from Georgia. The girl Ella Wood now at Brown University wanted to be a surgeon. They're murdering our young Americans, who are the best of our Americans. I don't know why people just sit back and just look at this. You got to realize affirmative action and the invasion has gone solid for 60 years. So most of the stuff, these investigators, people who are hired, the police chief in Providence couldn't properly speak English. It's infested. Most what happens is good people who want to be in law enforcement don't want to be in law enforcement because this is who their bosses are going to be. Affirmative action appointees.
And by the way, you know it's not everywhere, but it clearly seems like that was definitely the case, Kenny, in Brown. So what do you think was the biggest mistake, Kenny, in the Brown case? Now, I mean, the more I hear, the worse it gets.
Well, obviously the first mistake is the cameras around the schools. Was that building, did they have swipe cards, the students, when they went in? Was that door open?
The door was open. The door was open by everybody's account. Now, they claim, the administrators claim that was a rarity because it was an exam day, and that because for that reason it was open. But people in the area say that it was open all the time. That runners who ran in the area knew that building was open if they had to run in to go to the bathroom or get out of the cold or whatever the case is. So what does that leave you with, Kenny, really quick?
Okay, it leaves me that the individual the woman was talking about just previously has to be put under a microscope and not just here into the wind, and also the guy who was found in New Hampshire with a bullet in his head. He's got to have a microscope put on him. So none of this just, they knew each other in high school or class or something like that. And obviously, if they didn't find the guy in New Hampshire, the case would have solved itself because a dead body rotting away is an awful stank.
Yeah, exactly. And it apparently had been there just for 2 days, they said. You can usually tell from rigor mortis about how much time it's been. And maybe they have some videotape, too. Who knows? Maybe they see videotape of him going in. They hear a gunshot. Who knows what's on the surveillance video there at the storage facility? Maybe they had hopefully better video than the schools itself. Because there's definitely decent footage of him renting the car and a whole bunch of other things. The other thing that's weird, guys, he rented the car with his name, his real name. Why would you do that? He went through all this other effort, changed the different weapons, changed the plates on the car, but then he rents it under his name? That doesn't make any sense. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show. We'll continue after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rated E for everyone. Includes in-game purchases. Includes random items. EA Sports FC 26 is here. Play your way this holiday season with an overhauled gameplay experience powered by community feedback. Enjoy festive upgrades in Ultimate Team with Winter Wildcards. Take on holiday-themed challenges and manage your career, like navigating the busy Christmas period. And team up with friends and clubs with new tournaments and live events. The club is yours. Give the gift of football with EA Sports FC 26.
This is The Rita Cosby Show.
And coming up on The Rita Cosby Show, we'll continue talking about all these big topics tonight. For a holiday week, for a Christmas week, it is definitely not boring. And President Trump also at this hour, the U.S. Coast Guard is following a oil tanker, yet another one off the coast of Venezuela with black market Iranian oil. So they say we're about to seize another big tanker. Trump, continuing to make history. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Pete in Staten Island. Go ahead, Pete, your thoughts.
Rita, well, I tell you, I think, our president is doing a great job and cutting down the fentanyl coming in. I could see it on Staten Island because I do rescues with knock-on, and it is quiet as a mouse. And I think the American people better realize that Trump is out for our behalf. He's looking to make us live right. But there's going to be a little bit of, we're going to have to tighten our buckles because this mayor in New York is going to rock us a little. I think the price of stuff is going to go up for a while, and then it'll go back to normal. I don't see him there being more than 6 months or a year. Once Blakeman comes in, I think he'll tell him, I think you got to put in your retirement papers and go back to whatever else you want to do in private industry because you are not running the city of New York and putting us into the ground. And I'm not running anywhere. I'm staying in New York because New York is the place. I mean, I made a living on Broadway as a stagehand and other things, and I have a lot at stake here, and I'm not going to run away.
Good. By the way, and I'm so happy to hear that because there are a lot of people who are obviously looking at real estate in Florida or the Carolinas or anywhere but New York City, they seem, because they are deeply concerned about this guy's policies. But I agree with you. I think you got to stay and fight and show some resistance. And also, I also firmly believe you got to speak out. Look what happened when the Anti-Defamation League spoke out in this case. Suddenly, one of his hires was forced to resign. I think we need to remind him what he said through the years. It's a lot worse than what she did. And guess what? Bernie Sanders is going to be swearing him in. Huh. Can't wait for that.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here? Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy, Michael Cosby. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Cosby, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida, too. Mike Cosby, 561-441-2730. All right.